Hi, I'm Carrie, and here we have Once a Jailbird by Hans Fallada, a German writer, very active in the 1930s in Germany, had a lot of success, and continued writing for just a very brief period after the war. And for my money, my favorite German novelist, probably also I would say one of the most important, because his examination of German society in the 20s and 30s does a lot to make us understand how Nazism could grow and flourish. Fallada knew hard times. He knew what it was like to live at the bottom of the barrel, even though he had a fairly privileged upbringing as the son of a judge. He, in his late teen years, he was part of a botched suicide pact with his friend, in which he ended up shooting his friend and being horribly injured himself. And that set him on the road to a lifetime of alcoholism, drug dependency, petty crimes, embezzlement, and so on. He was in and out of sanatoriums, jails, you name it, for the rest of his life. There was a period in the 30s when he was quite successful. He managed to keep things on the straight and narrow. But in this book, in which he writes about a criminal newly released from prison in the early 30s, trying to make a new life for himself, he knew whereof he spoke. And really, it's, I suppose, to a degree, semi-autobiographical. Now, in the afterword to the book by Jenny Williams, Fallada's biographer, she reveals that he wrote this novel. Well, he told his publisher that he wanted it to be a kind of plea for better treatment of prisoners once they're released from prison, because it was inevitable they would go back, because there were so many restrictions and marks against them in society that it was inevitable they would have to resort to crime. Now, his main character is Willy Kufalt, who has been in prison for embezzlement, something that also Fallada was in prison for. He's finished a 5-year stretch. He goes to Hamburg. And what we have then is an examination of how hard life is for an ex-con. But Fallada is too good of a writer, too good of a novelist, just to leave his novel at the level of a polemic or an editorial. It very much looks at the fact that society is as criminal as the criminals who are being let out, or so it would seem, because there's a number of petty swindles perpetrated upon ex-prisoners, because they can be taken advantage of, because a single word from a citizen or an employer can send them back to jail. They are really trapped and they are exploited. And although what the civilian world does to them is not illegal, it is certainly immoral and unethical. And of course, Fallada's other great skill as a writer is bringing to life his underworld characters, the desperation of their lives, how they reason their way around problems, the pitfalls that they create for themselves. It's a tough read in terms of there's no happy endings. There never is in Fallada novels. But it is certainly an entertaining one. It pulls you along, and I really recommend it a lot. The other novel you should read by him is Alone in Berlin, which he wrote just literally months after the end of the war. It's also sometimes called Every Man Dies Alone. That's its other title. I think one title is in the States, one title is with the British publisher. Probably the best novel about Germans struggling with resistance to Hitler. All of his novels are worth reading. Probably why today he isn't known quite as well as he should be is because he came in for some criticism for not leaving Germany, and also making slight revisions to some of his novels to please Nazi authorities, because they certainly, in the beginning of the 1930s, did not like him. If you read this book, you could see why. He does not paint flattering, and never had painted flattering pictures of German society. But for instance, Thomas Mann criticized him. And the interesting thing is that shortly before the beginning of the war, his British publisher had arranged to get him out. They had a boat waiting to essentially smuggle him out of Germany. And at literally the last minute, he decided he couldn't leave. He was too attached to Germany as a culture and as a land and a people. Not that he was saying, no, I want to be part of Hitler's Germany. It's just he wanted to be part of Germany. And what makes that interesting is that it's something that a lot of other German writers, some of them Jewish, certainly felt as well, and had a real struggle removing themselves from Germany because they always felt, oh, it'll pass over or something will change. This can't go on like this. And of course, tragically, it did. So although he may have slightly accommodated himself to the Nazi authorities, he was not a Nazi, which seems to be quite clear. And certainly if you read Every Man Dies Alone, no one who was once a Nazi could have written that. And my own book, I've got a copy hiding around here. Well, anyway, you probably see it in my other videos. The Skeleton Palms, noir thriller. Please check it out. Thanks. Bye.